Greetings all. It's good to see everyone. Dr. Joseph, Dr. Lillian's here. Wow.
Good afternoon, good
Oh,
morning.
Dr. Syed.
How are you? Hi,
Oh my
everyone.
goodness. Dr. Syed is here, Dr. Joseph. Dr. Sandrika. Good to see you. Oh, and Ramesh, good to see you. You're gonna give our first remarks after after we start. You were the first one, Ramesh, to respond. So I'm looking forward to your views on humanitarianism. And then Dr. Amanda and Dr. Murthy also. But if we have space, as you can see, we have other members of our federation here. So, yeah, good to see. Welcome, Santosh.
Yes, good morning. Yeah, good afternoon.
Santosh knows how to greet internationally because he always says good morning, good afternoon.
Yes.
He realizes, that this man, when he's on calls, he's never in one time zone.
Yeah, you're right. You're
True, right?
Yes.
And he's definitely good at greeting us from different time zones. Wow. Well, look, I'm going to give it a minute or two. Again, greetings, everyone, for coming and joining us today. Jude is here, a good friend of mine. Christopher. So I'm going to wait 1 minute, and I'm actually going to begin our session, and then our first speaker will be Dr. Masika. All right, let me begin by sharing a few stories. Some research was done about the job description of hospital cleaners. So, if you get hired as a hospital cleaner, they'll have 10 or 20 or 30 different tasks that the hospital cleaner has to do, right? So they did an interview with them individually, and they asked them to describe their duties. And there was a long list of to do this and do that and so on. But they explained that they felt that the first duty was to care for patients. So they gave an example that according to their legal responsibility, they have to vacuum the lounges where family members are waiting. Family members wait about the news, about the health of their loved ones, and they're supposed to do that every 2 hours. But the cleaners said that they did not do this when they saw family members sleeping in those chairs, waiting for the results of their patients and their family members. Because in their judgment, they saw their job as caring for people, even if they didn't meet all the requirements of their normal job description. So this shows that, beyond all of our job descriptions, we are human beings. And human beings are naturally humanitarian and empathetic. So they were asked, well, what else would you do? You're the cleaner in the hospital. Oh, they said, well, we would sit and listen to others, that we would help patients who had no visitors and talk to them, and even do small things to make the patient more comfortable. So yes, they were doing their job, which means providing the care and services that you're employed to provide. However, they went beyond their job, which means that they noticed that individual needs had to be met And they responded in this way as humanitarians. So being humanitarian, in a way, gave that job, the person who cleaned in the hospital, gave their life meaning and purpose. Now, I want to share with you because our motto with Academicians for Peace and Universal Peace Federation is living for the sake of others. And this is a motto that I have lived in my life for 40 to 50 years. And I just want to say that today we're surrounded by humanitarians. This group that we have gathered today, they're humanitarians because they act with a heart of service and to others, but also for many, also in service to God. So humanitarians have qualities of compassion. That means that they care deeply. I'm sure when we hear the stories of that we hear today, we will see that they care deeply about the suffering of others, and they wanted to relieve their hardship. They were people of the people I'm talking today and who will be speaking, but also the group that we've assembled today is a group that has a deep sense of empathy, and that is to try and understand another person's experience, feeling, and needs. These are selfless people like yourselves, putting the well-being of others ahead of personal gain. These are people of humility, recognizing that humanitarian work is not about serving, it's about serving others rather than seeking personal praise. And these are people of hope and optimism that believe that change is possible and helping others maintains hope. So in that mean sense, we are people of compassion. We care about suffering. We try to understand the experience of others. So we're people of empathy. We're people of respect. We recognize the dignity and worth of each human being. We're people of courage because we're willing to act. We're selfless people because we want to serve. And we're people of solidarity because we seek the well-being. We understand that our well-being is connected to the well-being of others. I want to share with you my story. And my story is about living for the sake of others, as I said. But some years ago, maybe 4 or 5 years ago, I went through a period where I actually questioned my whole philosophy about living for the sake of others. And I became a little bit disheartened, if you like, in a bit of a dark space in my own mind. I thought, what's the point? You know, I've been living for the sake of others all these years, but who cares for me, really? You know, who in this world cares? I mean, yes, my wife and my children care for me, but I was living in this mindset that, you know, I became disillusioned, if you like, or, you know, not that interested anymore in this concept because I thought, well, who cares for me? And I was invited by a friend of mine because we had the annual lecture for the Nelson Mandela Foundation in Melbourne, in Australia. And at the time, I was invited by the president and of the Nelson Mandela Foundation, and I was the vice president. So I had to attend this lecture, and the lecture, of course, spoke about you know, Nelson Mandela as a person who lived for the sake of others and a great humanitarian. And I sat there because I had to be there politely thinking, oh, yeah, right. He's going to talk about living for the sake of others. Yeah. Sometime passed, maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and I have the habit of going on my deck. I live on a nice piece of land outside Melbourne. And I went on my deck and I usually have a meditation or a prayer. And in that moment, I kind of snapped out of it and I realized that actually what God has been showing me in my life of living for the sake of others and for the sake of humanity and other people was, I realized this is extremely valuable to me and to all of humanity. So I closed my eyes and prayed to God and said, Heavenly God, Heavenly Father, thank you for giving my life meaning. And immediately in my mind, I only had this experience once. Immediately, God answered and said, thank you for giving my life meaning. And at that point, I realized that we have meaning in life because we're related to each other. That the story of the universe is relational because of our relationship to God and to each other. As human beings, we find value. Our meaning is in service to others. I want to now continue, and I would like to now introduce our first speaker. Dr. Masika is an accomplished physician, a public health specialist, a global humanitarian leader, and he's recognized for his contribution to peace building around the world and refugee help and global health diplomacy. He was born in Tanzania, and he holds a Doctor of Medicine and a Master of Public Health from the University of Adelaide. He's been recognized really as a hero. I won't read all of that, except that he received the Medal of the Order of Australia in 2013. And I admire Dr. Joseph again for his love for humanity, and he will speak to us today on global health diplomacy and humanitarian leadership. Let us welcome him. Thank you. Dr. Joseph, over to you.
Yeah, thanks so much, John, for your kind introduction. And what I can say, look, that's what we need to live for, to praise others and lift others. And that's the life which we are supposed to live as a human being, to make dignity to human life. Now, I want to start first, but let me share find up my presentation. Oh. I've sent a request. I want to share my presentation, John. John, you have muted. I can't hear you.
I was going to say, if someone is there from the technical crew to give Dr. Joseph the permission to share, that would really help a lot.
Permission has been granted.
Thank you.
Please try again. Thank you.
Let me find up my. Where can I find up my folder? The part which I want to share. This is the one
the best way to do it, Dr. Joseph, is to open your presentation on your computer.
Open the presentation. It's open now.
Okay, and then if you click the share button, it should come up. You can share your screen or you can share the presentation. But even if you share your screen, your presentation should appear.
Oh, just sorry, I didn't know. Because just
take your time.
We could have done it earlier. I'm going to. Oh, Jody, I wish I could email to you quickly, and then you can help me to upload it.
Let's see if I have. Yes. Okay. I can.
I'm clicking the.
You email it to me. Look.
Okay,
you started sharing your screen, Doctor.
Yes,
now
I can
open
see
up.
now.
You see your screen?
Yeah. Yes.
There you go. We
can
see that. Yep.
Can you see my okay?
You can.
Can you see it?
Yes, very nice.
Okay, so thank you so much. I do apologize for taking a few minutes away from this kind of presentation. I want to say first, in Australia, the way we do, I know those who are online, they might not understand why we are doing it, but in Australia, when we have a meeting or gathering or an event, we normally start an acknowledgement of the country, and it is a way for everyone, indigenous or non-indigenous, to show respect for our traditional owners and ongoing connection of Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders people to their land and waters. It is commonly given at the start of the meeting, speeches, and the public event. And this is a public event. That's why traditionally, or according for me being one of the elected member, I have to do it to show that respect. So I would like to start by say I would like to acknowledge the traditional custodian of the land on which I'm meeting today, the Ghana people, and pay respect to their elders, past, present, and emerging. I do apologize for taking some of your time. Now, when we through those acknowledgements again, I wanted to say today is the day the world is honoring humanitarians and reflecting on leadership, global health, and community empowerment in such a way advancing peace and human dignity. And that is the most crucial thing. And I have to say to John, I don't know how you came that you asked me to be part of this today, but I've been humanitarian since in the 80s, so it's almost 45 years plus. I've been in this kind of mission of being humanitarian. And I remember those years I've already joined the Ministry of Health as a medical doctor, and I've been doing it. And I enjoy doing it, but there's a way to do it, and encourage everyone who can be humanitarian to be that. I express my sincere appreciation to you, John, for coordinating this event and also extend the invitation to me to be your speaker today. I thank the International Association of Academic Chancy for Peace for bringing together professionals committed to peace, education, and humanitarian service. That is really good, and I enjoy that one there. So, what we needed to ask ourselves, why we gather? Why are we here today? Because that is the very important topic. We have been given topic is about honoring of humanitarians. And this is the United Nations, which they've set the date. So what I can say in short that today is the day we recognize the courage of people who step forward when others are facing war, displacement, disaster, disease, and uncertainty. And we have seen this year in, year out. And we have so many examples. If we are talking recent disasters, think of what happened in Venezuela, earthquake a few months ago. Last week, Colombia, earthquake. And the people are being in the disaster with uncertainty, but they are so good humanitarian being there to make sure that they relieve suffering, they preserve the life, and they make people to be resilient and then continue with their peace, living in the world. So today we honor and celebrate humanitarian leader who serve in time of crisis. Today is a day where we do reflection. As we reflect on this day, our central question, which I argue everyone to put that at for you, how can leadership, global health, empowered communities advance peace and humanity dignity? That's what we need to think today. We understand we are doing that one, but let's put that as our central question. How can we advance peace and humanity dignity? Yes, the question under which we have, why do we celebrate World Humanitarian Day? And this officially UN observance is 19th of August, which in 4 days' time. And I can say from this World Humanitarian Day, what are humanitarian workers and volunteers who has worked through United Nations or working through other organizations? I know Ambassador for Peace, also they are part of humanitarian. I know Rotarians, They are part of humanitarians because they do things above and above self, which is service to the others when there's a need, and when they want to preserve life and dignity. So we remember those who lost their lives while saving others. That's 19th of August. And also stand in solidarity with the people affected by humanitarian crisis. Not only those who are suffering, but also who are a recipient of the services from those humanitarians. And also the day advocates for safety, security, and dignity of affected communities. That's why we have to reflect on them, and also to understand that we have to advocate for that one day. And also the day call on government and community to support humanitarian in action. I want to say, look, there are so many dates which has been set, international days which has been set by United Nations. To share with you some of the examples, it's like 21st of March. That is the United Nations International Day for Elimination of all racial discrimination against people. You know, there was a reason behind to set that date. We have 26th of November, which is the elimination of all domestic violence in the family. We have, like in September, peace, International Day for Peace. So we have all those dates which have been set by United Nations. So on this 19th of August, it reminds us that there is an event which happened somewhere, in particular, for this one was in Iraq. A bomb attack on UN Kano Hotel killed 22 humanitarian workers, including UN Special Representative Sergio Bilo Di Mello. I remember the day in which it was announced on the news, and it was very sad. And in 2008, the United General Assembly designated the 19th of August as World Humanitarian Day. The day is there for both a day of remembrance and a day of action. We remember those who died and we commit ourselves to protect those who continue to save humanity. That's all, that's the top bottom line of that day, that 19th of August, which is going to be ahead of us. Now, there's a picture there. You can see me talking up to some members. This man is a Palestinian, so we met up while I was also duty of humanitarian work. So you can see there, I was listening and get guidance from him to remind me that when we go and save, there's certain things we have to embrace on, or we have to take on board, so that we can make sure that we save up the people who want to save, and also provide the services which is intended. So this slide is here. What is humanitarian leadership? So this one here, say, look, there are 2 points. One is leadership when lives are at stake, because you can't be humanitarian just for the sake of the humanitarian. There must be a trigger point which makes you to say, yes, I have to commit myself to go and save others. So if the lives are at stake, that kicks in, and you find yourself having that heart of being humanitarian to go and preserve life and save life and make things go back to normal life. And the other point is humanitarian leadership is leadership through service. We have to offer services. My dear brother John said, you have to be there for others, not for accolades or not for prestige or for getting up titles on certificate or not. You have to take it on board and say, I'm stepping out with all risks to go and deliver the services. I would like to share my personal journey in this slide as a humanitarian through medical background, because I said, look, in the 80s, I was a medical doctor, and we have happened to have so many crises which was caused by war through our neighbors in Rwanda, Burundi during genocide, and both sides, and also from Congo, DRC, and also here in Australia, that I was involved to receive and talk to all people who have been settled in the refugee program to make sure their health is going back to normal. It wasn't a paid job. it was a job which I have to carry on based on my experience and everything. And also, I would like to share this based on my role as a Rotarian through International Rotary, where I've been part of the Rotary Foundation and been involved in polio eradication around the globe. To answer this question, what is humanitarian leadership, is to have courage. As John said, you need to have courage doing what is right despite nature. So you can't go somewhere where that's safe. You go somewhere where knowing the possibility of dying is high, but because of others I need of help, so you offer yourself to be there and support them. I know always we are very careful. We normally go to the places knowing that we will survive, but it's unfortunate some they don't come back home when they leave. But it doesn't deter others to go and support and offer that help to those people in need. So courage is number one, which has to be there. And second thing is the same thing which Brother Jordan said. It's about compassion, seeking the human being behind crisis, seeing the human being behind the crisis. You have to see that person who is behind the crisis, and from there you can find yourself very quickly being there to support them. And the other thing is about integrity, protecting trust, because when you go there, you're being trusted. You know that you live neutrality. You are not going to take it to politics or other things which can breach trust with the community which you are going to serve. And also, you have to uphold ethical standards. That is very crucial. You have to be a person of integrity, and which accompany with all those other things of ambition. And you have to do coordination, be able to bring coordination. You have to be able to bring government, health professionals, NGOs, UN agencies, and the community together. That's what is required when you are humanitarian. And finally, accountability, making decisions that protect the people and dignity. You don't go and do things which will destroy life. No, when you are there as a humanitarian, is to protect the people and dignity. Please, if I'm talking fast, let me know so that I can slow down. I'm mindful of time, so that's what I'm trying to, yeah. And so this is the next slide. It's showing
Take your time, Joseph.
Yeah, you can see where I've been involved. I took up those pictures. You can see them, how they've been, these pictures, say let's minimize. You can see everyone there. How I'm going to say this because being humanitarian, there's the consequences. And that's why I put up this. That I've been involved in polio eradication. That's the first slide. You see, in way back before 1985, how many children were crippled. We used to have at least 385,000 cases per year, or people being affected, children being affected by polio. And including my dear sister, who is older than me for 2 years, she ended up being suffering from polio. And from there, that's the things which prompted me to go and say, look, I shouldn't see anyone suffering from polio for something which can be protected or prevented. And you can see the middle picture, me campaigning for polio eradication everywhere, people to understand, and also to do donations so that we can procure vaccinations and be able to support volunteers or those humanitarians going to to those countries to do vaccination. And the third photo can see me is around Asia where there was a disaster. So I'm there to support dignity and to offer relief. You can see me with the people who are receiving food, because we know we have to provide food, people have to eat, and we have to make people settle. And then where they're going to sleep, what's the type of injuries they have acquired so that can be treated, and what needs to be required to put up latrines or to put up those shelters so people that can be able to sleep and be human being. And also consoling those victims. You can see the last photo there, talking to those women and children to explain what's happening and how are we mobilizing ourselves to support them. And the bottom line, I say, look, with the polio eradication has come at a tragic human cost. I'll show you first. On your left, you see World Polio Africa 1997. You see all those reds, they were endemic. People affected by polio. And the world polio was rampant and attacking those children. And we saw, the being crippled. And from there, as a Rotarian, and accepting to be in that situation of humanitarian and go and do what is required, you can see the second middle one, World Polio Africa 2020, was completely eradicated. I was involved in polio eradication in India, and I was involved in the polio eradication in Africa. Nigeria was the last country where I did a lot of effort there. And for the time being, we've been left with only two countries which polio is still a problem, which is Pakistan and Afghanistan. But we haven't left them behind. There is, efforts going behind the scene to try to make sure also they have become polio free. And the last certificate you see, which has been signed by so many people, this was a culmination of my efforts and others as a humanitarian to eradicate polio. This certificate was issued on the 25th of August, 2020, to say, yes, the polio in Africa is gone. And I tell you from that time, when this certificate was issued, I beat up my chest and said, I'm glad I was there. I'm glad I did to that one there. Although people will never remember me, but I said, as a human being, as a humanitarian, as a Rotarian, as a medical practitioner and a public health physician, and I was there, and I made this to be a history, and I'm so happy, and that's why I said I will share with you. Now, when I say, look, polio eradication has came with a tragic human cost, people might not know. But this is the fact. Across Pakistan and Afghanistan, polio eradication has come at a tragic human cost. If you go back to research covering between 1998 to 2034, has documented 359 deaths worldwide linked to the violent attack on polio immunization activities, with the Pakistan and Afghanistan bear the most casualties into that one there. Vaccinators, volunteers, and their security personnel have been deliberate targets with the protecting children while protecting children from polio. You can see that one there. But we know that there's a danger, but I'm still there as a humanitarian. I have taken courage to say, yes, they need us, we shouldn't retreat. Because if polio is still in Afghanistan and Pakistan, and now we see in Bongville in Papua New Guinea, Australian children are not safe. The children in New Zealand are not safe. In Fiji, in Vanuatu, and everywhere. So we have to continue with that courage and integrity and the commitment and compassion to eradicate the polio on these three areas I've mentioned, to can make sure that we preserve that human dignity and the people that can live in peace. Now, we have the next slide is global health is humanitarian action. I'm saying this because myself studied in global health and I'm practiced by global health, and I believe in global health because crises rapidly become health emergencies. Because when, like Venezuela, with the earthquake, you can see it is crisis. Health emergency comes there, where humanitarian and health leadership must address emergency medical care. We have to address disease prevention and surveillance. We have to vaccinate. We have to do vaccination, because I'll take up like a vaccination example. When you have everything situation has changed, water system sanitation is poor. If there's an outbreak of cholera, a lot of people die because of that situation. So in order to prevent that, sometimes it might be necessary to vaccinate. So vaccination, in case of emergencies, can come on that one day. And then we have maternal and child health. It becomes an issue. Nutrition becomes an issue. Mental health and psychological support, because people have lost a loved one, they've lost their possessions, they've lost where they're living and everything. So it's very big psychological effect, a very profoundly psychological effect to the people who have been left alive. So so we have to restore clean water and sanitation and continue to essential health services care. So global health is very important. And the global health, you can't do it yourself. That's why you have to mobilize all nations, all other professionals across the globe to be able to provide that service and make sure that everyone can come and be part of that journey. Now, the last area which comes up whenever there's a disaster and we go in is something which we needed to sure that those community which we provide services, they are not merely recipient, they are also participants into there. So they participate into that one there. Sorry, I need to go back. Sorry. By itself. So they have to participate. And when we go in, look up my first picture, which was started on first slide. I was listening from that member, elder from the community. That member is from Palestine. And I was sharing with he was sharing with me that if you want to come and help us on this side and help us to relieve the pain and also support us to establish themselves again and also to continue supporting on themselves without depending on others, I have number one, I have to listen, understanding the local priorities and live the experience. Also, I have to include everyone. I can't listen to only elders, men, and no, I have to include women, children, young people, all those that were refugees, people with disabilities, and local leaders. That is crucial. And from there, while you are doing the relief and also you are supporting, also you have to build up the capacity because as soon as you leave, who is going to support them? We are not going to make them to rely all along their lives, but they have to be able to stand up on their own feet. So we have to develop their capacity. We have to strengthen their local health systems, skills, and organization to be able to govern themselves and share resources among themselves and support each other. And also, we have to share leadership, support local people to lead the solution, and sustain building resilience beyond the immediate emergence. I know there's immediate, but we have to look when we finish, we leave, what's going to happen. The same as we are doing vaccination. When we go in, we mobilize vaccinations, supporting the country, and bring up vaccination, try to support volunteers, help them to develop their volunteer base. And when we finish, there will be ongoing vaccination so they can be able to do it. We help them to develop that capacity to do it, that one there. So we come for this human dignity at the center. When we are doing humanitarian, so dignity has to be the center. There are 4 humanitarian principles. Number 1 is humanity. With that humanity, you prevent and alleviate suffering where it is found. And second one, which is impartiality, assist according to the need. You don't take up, you say this is what they need, but working with the community, people affected, work with those local leaders, they can tell you, in fact, where the assistance is required. And you can be able to support them. And then you have to be neutral. Do not take side in hostility. And these are similar to the Red Cross, Red Crescent. We share the same principles that you have to be neutral. You don't take side. As a humanitarian, you have to be independent, being there with passion and compassion, and also integrity to be there to support, but not being involved into those other politics which are there. And as I said, look, you have to be independent, maintain humanitarian, objective, and independent of independent objectives, independent of political, military, or other agendas. In this case, dignity means every person matters. That's how it is, and that's how it should be. So as of today, the humanitarian systems has increasing emphasis, strengthening global solidarity and empowering local communities. So we have to do that one too, to make sure when we leave, they can be able to support it themselves. Now, I'm going to share this slide for a certain reason. And this is way back when I was a medical doctor in Tanzania. By the way, I joined up Ministry of Health in the early 80s. And we remember 1994, we have our neighbors. I'm using that as an example, Rwanda, genocide, 1994 genocide against Tutsi in Rwanda. That was a very big disaster where we saw overnight with more than 2 million people displaced from their homes. They ran to save their lives. And we had more than 800 people were killed overnight, 800,000 people. And this were mainly, majority were Tutsi, but there was those moderate Hutus. They were killed because they were trying to protect those Tutsis, and they end up being the victim. And also, we saw a lot of people cross up the border to Tanzania, where I come from, and being in a medical field, in the medical, by then employed by the Ministry of Health. So those we have to make sure that those people who cross the border and come, you don't expect they will come over one night. You have about 200,000 people who never been planned for. But as humanitarian, we have to be there to make sure we can cater for, we can be able to sustain their life by providing food, shelter, water, health, and where for them to be seen as human being and to relieve that suffering. So when we do this as a humanitarian, we normally look up steps. It can't do anything in one day. So there are steps which, when we go in, the first one is about relief, suffering. You relieve that suffering, and you try to restore people to see, yes, there's a help. Even the help if it's not enough, but the help is on the way, and give that reassurance. And once they relieve that suffering, we try to plan for recovery, how this community can recover, and they feel that they're human being. They've recovered from their psychological being uprooted from one place, and they find themselves in a stranger place. And once we have done that, we go back to build up their resilience. That's why we empower the community, their leadership, and they try to mobilize the resources they need so that they can sustain life themselves. And once they've done this one, they go back to peace. They can be peace in themselves, they can be peace with the neighbors, they can see peace again in their life. So I've come across those one there, and anyone who is working in the humanitarian during a war crisis, those are the steps which we normally follow. When we do the relief, we save lives and reduce suffering. Recover, restore health, education, livelihoods, and essential services. When we talk about the resilience, strengthening individuals, families, and communities. And the peace, what I mean here is building trust, inclusion, dialogue, and social cohesion. It is worth it to note that humanitarian action cannot replace the political solution. I have to be upfront. With all this more than 45 years being involved in humanitarian work, that the political solution cannot be replaced. It has to be there. If it's a war and everything, it has to be those political solutions has to kick in to resolve those situation, making people run and be displaced. But it can reduce suffering if we can involve politicians and they can talk and they can do that one day. And also can help people to build trust and create condition for recovery and peace. Not only to the country which is affected by war, but also the countries which they host. We have to make the political solution to see how are they going to accommodate those people who have entered the country, they've crossed the border. Because you can find one side, if you are not, the political side is not supporting, you can be pushed back to where they come from, and they can find themselves in danger again. Now, this one is a,
You've only got a few minutes, Dr. Joseph.
okay, I'm going very quickly, so I'm coming up to the end, in fact, yeah. So this is a personal reflection from medicine. A life is, he said that from medicine, I found that every life has equal value. As a humanitarian, that's how I see it. And also from public health, health is about people. It's about system, prevention and equity. Everyone has to enjoy that one day. And from refugee health, it's about displacement, must never mean to loss of dignity at all, shouldn't be, and all values should be there. And by involved with Rotary and polio eradication, global partnership can achieve what the organization can't achieve alone. No, we have to be there and to do it. And in peace building, compassion must cross the border, culture and communities. If you want that peace building, it must cross the border and everything. And it comes back to say, look, humanitarian system is under extraordinary pressure. So we have said 300 million, like last 2025, they needed assistance, and the humanitarians have to be there to give that one day. And we can see a lot of 2024, 380 humanitarian workers were killed. Those are being reported through humanitarian UN, through World Humanitarian UN system. And for us, we say, look, those workers must be protected under international humanitarian law. We can't let people being killed for being humanitarian. And we have to do everything we can do to protect them. Now, what we need to do, now we come to the situation that our call to action, because I said at the beginning, when you are having this conversation like we're having today, there must be a call of a conversation. So what can we do? Are we going to sit down and leave it to others? Or are we going to make ourselves, when we live today, we say, yes, I'm going to be there, I'm going to be humanitarian. Whenever there's a crisis, I'll be there for others. I'm going to deliver that services. So in this one action which we need, we have to protect humanitarian worker. We have to protect civilian and uphold international humanitarian law. We have to invest in the global health and prevention. If you're a doctor or you're others, you can do that. We have to empower local communities and the local leadership. We have to support humanitarian organizations and frontline responders. We have to promote dialogue, reconciliation, and peace. And this is Ambassadors for Peace. John will explain it more. And I'm glad to be Ambassador for Peace because that's where we can do. It's part of humanitarian work. We have to refuse to become indifferent to human suffering. They are suffering, we are suffering, and we have to be there. And the UN, for the time being, the UN current humanitarian messaging call for protection, accountability, and action, not merely celebration. We are not here today to celebrate on the 19th, but we are there to say, who are we and how can we be part of them? And now in closing remarks, I say, look, yes, we are here, we are honoring humanitarians. But how can we honor them? By continuing their work. Those who died, they have left us behind. We have to continue doing their work the way they went in. When the crisis divide, we have to be there. Humanitarians must unite, humanity must unite. When suffering, silence. Leadership must speak when hope fades. Service must restore it. If we do that, that will be good. So I have to say once again, I thank you, Dr. John Balavanchi, for organizing this and all other organizers behind this event today. And to you, all participants, thank you for your attention. And I look forward one day to meet you or see each other again online whenever these events are being organized. So thank you so much and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. If you could stop sharing your screen, then we might be able to see each other on, there we go. Okay,
Yes.
I just wanted to double check if Dr. Prem Lecky is with us today. Dr. Prem, are you here? I couldn't see your name. I looked and looked. All right. Look, that will give some of the team members for Academicians for Peace an opportunity. First of all, it'll give us an opportunity, Joseph, to ask you questions. We'll have a little more time. And
Yes.
after that, I want to ask Ramesh Baduri to prepare. He's one of our main members for the Academicians for Peace, and Dr. Ananda should also be here, and Dr. Murthy. But there are other members of Academicians for Peace that are here, and I'll take a few minutes, and that will conclude our time together. Just before if I don't forget, we do need to take a picture. Can I ask our technical team to take a picture?
Yes.
Thank you, sir. Alvin is always very helpful. So everyone turn your camera on. So before you run off, let's take a picture for the report. Oh, look at that smile from Joseph. Turn your camera on and he'll go through the different screens and take a picture. So let's smile.
Is everyone ready?
Yes.
Okay, ready, smile. 1, 2, 3. Give me a minute. Hold on, hold on. Okay, ready. 1, 2, 3. Okay, great.
Great. Thank you. All right. Archbishop Nelson, the floor is yours. Question time. Archbishop
Thank
Nelson.
you.
Yes,
Thank
go ahead.
you, my dear brother, Dr. John Bellavance, for organizing a beautiful and very successful event for peace and humanity. And I really appreciate your efforts for peace and humanity and love to spread peace in this world. And thank you very much. I really appreciate. And thank you, Dr. Joseph. You have a great presentation. So I really appreciate it. And I love, especially, to live for the sake of others. We should respect everyone with the faith that we are created by one God and we are one family under God. We should respect everyone regardless of religion, regardless of faith, belief. We are one family. So thank you very much. I just want to say thank you for beautiful program, beautiful event, and beautiful program for unity. And let us work together. I really appreciate these wording that we should work for the sake of other, and let us work together. Thank you very much. I just want to say thank you. God bless all of you. I really appreciate everyone present, everyone who are not present, but I pray daily for all of you and I pray for global peace and global healing. Thank you.
Thank you.
God bless.
Thank you. Thank you, Archbishop. Anyone else? I'm looking for hands up or unmute yourself. Any questions or comments?
Well, Joe, the people that can share their views, how do you think about this day and what can we do as a human being to touch other people's human being? Just
Good
you
job.
don't necessarily to be a question, just anything to make sense.
Okay, thank you, Joseph. Actually, I'd like to ask Ramesh Baduri to, when I sent out the email to committee members for Academicians for Peace, Ramesh put his hand up and wanted to share a few comments. So, Ramesh, the floor is yours. Oh, we can't hear you, Ramesh. Somehow your microphone's not working. Is it just me or you can hear him? No. Ramesh, we can't hear you. Is that right, Joseph? Can you hear him?
Oh, I can't hear you.
Okay. Ramesh, try and fix your microphone. Is Dr. Ananda here? No? Is Dr. Murthy here? Okay. All right. Let's try. Anyone else has any thoughts on what happened today? Look, I just wanted to ask you one question, Dr. Joseph. Because of all the work you've done and you've gone in the field and helped people, where do you get the strength in your heart to actually do this? What motivates you?
Yes, John, thanks so much for the good question. And my story is not different from yours. So myself, I grew up in religion. I'm a Christian, and also one things which I normally ask myself that I'll put an example. This one for those who are Christian, they will understand where I'm coming from. I believe in Jesus Christ, and Jesus Christ to live like His life is to be there for others, be compassion, be patient, be kindness, be gentle, and also humility, you know. And it comes there by always in my, I've been asking myself, if today and ask me, what have you done? I would say, yes, I reflect life. Even his life, before even you can read the Bible to understand if Jesus was a person like you, that was a very good person because I'm touching the life of everyone. And I find myself not with no worry, but there to see people, human being. And the other things which comes there is one suffering is all suffering. And I don't want to see anyone suffering. And I know all of us, we are created in image of those who believe in religion. We believe in the image of God. So all of them, we're the same. Colors can be different, but we are the same. And that gives me energy to go. And even other people who surrounds me, they can say, when are you going to slow down? But I don't see me slowing down for the last 45 years plus, and I don't see myself slowing down. But I'm hoping to continue doing that one because I want people to live the life I'm living. I don't want to see my sister suffered from polio, but I don't want to see any child suffering from polio today. If I can go and support, volunteer, and issue vaccination, organize the resources for vaccine to go to that area where it's needed, I find very joy, and I'm saying I'm doing it for humanity, because no anyone will suffer like those one before. And that's why I normally rally and they ask everyone to come along and support and move there. And that's why Ambassador for Peace, we don't want to see wars, people dying, people being killed, people being displaced, people suffering. We want to see peace prevailing. And that's why we are here. We have to talk about peace. And we have to be there to make sure people they enjoy peace and human dignity. And that's how
Thank you.
human dignity can be brought by peace. So that's how I can say, John. Thank you so much for that one.
Thank you, Joseph. Shah, would you, I'll take, you've got the floor, and then Santosh, you're second. Go ahead, Shah. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. You've got the
Yes,
floor.
thank you.
First, hold on, Santosh. First,
Yes.
Shah Sue is with us. She's first.
Okay.
Then
Sure.
I'll take you.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Dr. Joseph, and for your very insightful presentation. I am currently doing my doctoral research in Bangkok on ethical leadership and governance in conflict-affected Myanmar. So I have two questions. My first question is leadership through service is still possible when the people you serve are governed by the same actors causing the conflicts? And second question is, when lives are at stake, who hold humanitarian leaders accountable? Does that mechanism even exist in active conflict zone like Myanmar? Thank you so much.
Joseph, you have to unmute.
So much for your question. I want to say number one. I will go to the second question. That is the first. Is it the theory or Cho? or Thiri? How do you pronounce it? Your name, is it Thiri?
Okay, Thierry is also it can address me, Thierry, yes.
Okay, so we normally call people by their surname. I say, look, for one thing, I did international humanitarian law with Leiden University. So we know if there is anywhere where people are being tortured or to, or their rights have been abused, those leaders, they can be accountable through making sure that they normally call it breach of human rights against humanity. That's one it can be prosecuted. That's why we have the court like The Hague, which is the International Criminal Justice Court, for prosecuting those who are breaching up their obligation to protect the people, but they inflicted, pain and lack of peace, so they can be prosecuted. It's a matter of that country to be the leaders to be referred. But with the way things are at the moment, some countries are not the member of this International Criminal Justice Court. So it's very difficult to refer them. But if the warrant has been issued and they travel to another country, which is a member of that jurisdiction, they can be arrested and be prosecuted. I know the case of Myanmar very well, and I've engaged with the issues of people, Burmese and other Karen, coming from Myanmar. And I know how their rights and their life have been affected. But we hope that we as well, we can stand in solidarity to make sure everyone who has caused that problem can be prosecuted and be held accountable. So we know we have to uphold international humanitarian law. So it comes up to the second, the first question is I say, look, political solution has to be there. And the issue of Myanmar, it has been a complex equation for a long, long time. It's not the first time. It has been since, it has gone through the phases. And I know this current phase is not the previous, the first one. But we do hope that the international community is watching, knows what is going on, and those people will be accountable. And we believe that those leaders, they have to open up the borders for humanitarians to be able to do their job without fear or being killed, to save up those who are persecuted or suffering. And I'm sorry if I couldn't answer fully, and I'm trying to also not to go into politics into those countries. But we can chat online. You are doing your PhD. I'll be quite happy to read it. I'll be quite to have a conversation on sideline, and to make sure that you can have a very good material to present in your PhD. Thank you so much for that, Turi.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. That was very helpful and gave me a lot to think. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joseph. All right, look,
John,
I think Ramesh
John, I'm audible. Yeah.
That's right.
Hello.
Ramesh's microphone is working, which
Now
is
it's
really
working.
good news, because Ramesh, you have the last word. But before we go to you, I want to ask Mr. Santosh Padel, which is one of our Universal Peace Federation leaders in Asia Pacific, to share a few words or ask a question. The floor is yours, Santosh.
Yeah, thank you, Dr. John. Yeah, I also texted personally to Dr. Joseph your presentation. It's very helpful. So I just would like to share that we are also now having one program on August 19, celebrating humanitarian. So I have invited a few experts, and then I am also one of them that present on behalf of Universal Peace Federation. So Dr. Joseph, your presentation is very helpful for me. And I invited one lady. She was deputy speaker in Nepal, and she also one of the 100 BBC women in 2017. She worked for children whose parents are in prison. So I visited her center also, and she had many international award. working on humanitarian. She is coming to present in our program, and also few army officers who work in UN. They also come to present. So I will also present that your presentation is really helpful for me, and thank you, Dr. John, for reaching all those experts like Dr. Joseph in this very auspicious program. And just just one short question. So, what are the legal challenge in nation applying the humanitarians activities in each nation, which really a barrier that you see applying, reaching out to the vulnerable people in your experience, Dr. Joseph? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for your question, and also for the activity which you are going to carry. Please, will be there with international humanitarian law. These are well established, but some countries, they are not well, involved. They are not member states for, like this international channels are being created through United Nations. Once the law is being enacted to say, look, these are rule of engagement if there's war or they're dealing with this kind of activities, those member countries, they have to go and ratify those treaties or conventions which have been through United Nations. But you can find some countries, they go to United Nations, they say, yes, they sign those conventions. They say, yes, we agree, that is in principle. But when they go back to their own countries, they don't ratify them. So they don't become the law. You find out they don't believe in it. And we have an example, America, like it's not a part of international criminal justice. And that's why you see they're doing anything, and Russia is not a part of it. So they know you can't do anything to them. And they can, like Putin can go to America, won't be arrested because America is not a part of the Lome status. And that is creating problems, it's dividing the world. But if they go to the countries which they've signed those and ratify those treaties, it's easy to implement them. So that's where we are finding up with the problem within the globe. But we believe that if all countries, they can come together in the United Nations and they agree in principle and they ratify those treaties and the conventions which they've agreed, we'll see things changed. But let's hope. There is a very complex, we can't implement them in some countries. They do whatever they want, and we can just mere look at them. There are so many issues. I don't want to go to a specific country, but I know there's a mechanism which is pushing forward to say, look, what those countries need to agree. But some political leaders, they're in another planet, they are not in this planet for one reason, and for another reason they're here. So we have to accept that, but it's a failure to some extent. But we believe many countries that are still taking part, and that's why we see those disasters when they happen, or war situation happen, we still have those humanitarian.
Thank
And
you.
they go in and provide that support and they try to alleviate suffering and move on. And that one. Thank you so much, Satoshi, for the question. I look forward to hear from you next time.
Thank you, Dr. Joseph. All right, the final words will be Ramesh, but I just want to mention that we do have Dr. Lillian, who's with us today. We do have our next program, and I will be sending that out soon on the 24th of October, same time. So it doesn't matter which time zone you're in, Bangkok or Hanoi or Delhi, but it will be relating to World Food Day 2026. Right, so the theme will be Right to Food for a Better Life and Better Future. So with that, I will be sending out this program out. With that, Ramesh, you have the last words with us for this afternoon and this morning. Go for it.
Thank you, John, and thank you, Dr. Joseph. I heard a lot of information about what is happening and what happened across the world. especially if you are people talking about like humanitarian peace exist in the whole universe. I think we supposed to start from like a school or from the young kids. Like I'm seeing like in my country nowadays, the Gen Zs are out of control, maybe because of some unwanted threat, or I don't know, is it because of school or it is because of the outskirts in our society? Everybody is in a hurry, means everybody want things in their hands, but they didn't experience like what exactly the life is. So universally, I'm talking about if we see the country like in US or in South Africa, the many countries I have seen, the people are very aggressive. Why I don't know, but if you see the after Corona and COVID, the people have little bit threat and they get little shift, but soon after they overcome the again. I'm seeing the across the world the problems is started again. It will be my submission to you all people like Dr. Joseph had a big experience, and uh, like we organize seminars and like online webinars like John is doing for school kids and for the international people who is directly related to the young generation. So we have to have something towards this, like how to be well-being when the kids, they are not understanding their parents, they are threatening their parents, sometimes they are killing their parents or even their teachers. So everywhere, most of the time, we are seeing this kind of things happening. So we have to work somewhere in ground level as well. And as Joseph said, in healthcare already lot of the things has been done, and it can be seen and it can be measured. But the young generation supposed to be have patience, they should have a tolerance, and they should cope up with everybody in the society, so that we can have a means peace in the whole universe. That's my submission. Thank you.
Thank you, Ramesh. I said that you'd be the last, but thank you for that. I think your recommendation to have webinar for young people, let's work on that as academicians for peace. I will take one final one and then we'll stop. Parwana, you've got your hand up. Go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah, Dr. John, can you hear me?
We can hear you.
Okay, thank you so much. So first of all, I would like to thank you and Dr. Joseph and the rest of the team for having such a grateful discussion today and presenting very relevant and important issues. I would like to highlight one point today as we celebrating or kind of coming together in order to talk about Humanitarian Day. It's very important to note that unfortunately, like the fund that the United Nations and the rest of the international communities are spending or allocating for the humanitarian work is shrinking day by day, which is really concerning. Like as a person, as a girl who is from Afghanistan, like I can say many challenges that currently there are there have many international and national organizations who receive like funding from the international community specifically for the humanitarian work. However, like it's shrinking day by day, and the fact uh, so it's very important. Like we discussed humanitarian a day, it's very important to try our best. Every association, every international organization, or even including United Nations, we really need to work together in order to mobilize as much as funds possible. So we could allocate for the girls and then for the boys who are in need in every corner of the world, even not only Afghanistan, which there are many challenges at this moment. Girls and boys are facing with, but there are other countries as well in the around the world which need our support. So as the last point, I just want to highlight it, but thank you so much for all your efforts and for the great presentation, Dr. Judith and everyone. Thank you. Over to you.
Thank you. All right. Thank you, Parwana. Thank you all. You guys are amazing. It's just amazing to be with good people, isn't it? And we're a good crowd of people who are seeking to build peace. So thank you very much. We'll conclude now. I wish you all farewell, and we'll see you soon. Thank you for your efforts. Bye. Bye-bye, everyone. Have a good day, good evening.